Hello, this is Robin Real Time, and this is my final thoughts on the E3 conference. So let's get going. I'm going to list them as a series of pros and cons from each company. Now, for Microsoft, their pros are backwards compatibility. That's what I've heard was the largest reaction. Another thing I noticed was a lot of their games, they had release dates, actual release dates. So they're not like next year. That's not a release date. A release date is a month, a day, and a year. So we need those three little crucial pieces of information to have an actual release date. So if you're coming up to 3 and you're announcing your video games, you gotta give people at least the speculative time that it's gonna be between this and the next E3. So if it's not then don't bring it up. Don't bring it up at all. So I feel very strongly about that. Another good thing that I noticed from Microsoft is they had a good amount of new IPs. They had a lot of first entry titles that don't have another number labeled to it, like a lot of other games, and with coming out with the other companies, they have they're now exploring and taking risks. I believe that Microsoft, they presented themselves really well. I thought that and another thing I believe they did is they actually listened to their fans. They actually listened to their fans. The last E3 2014, if you've seen a lot of the other YouTubers posting their final thoughts, you can go back and watch them, and you're gonna see that they did not do well. So they brought their A game. They turned it around. They now have a lot of consumer confidence, which is good. You want to get that consumer confidence back. They were making a lot of weird decisions, and now they're heading the right way. They're listening to the people that matter, and that's important. But it wasn't perfect. This is just a nitpick. You just to have a con, I had to have a nitpick. So, but it was a really good show for Microsoft. And it was just the car drop on the lift. I know it was a cool factor in that, but for me, that's just a gimmick. Just let your games sell themselves. You don't need to do that, Again, that was Microsoft. Now let's get on to the next thing. Whereas with Sony, on the PS4, their pros was, again, the one that got big ups from the crowd was the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Another one was the Shenmue 3 Kickstarter. So that was great to hear. Everybody loved that franchise, and Shenmue came from the Sega Dreamcast, I believe. So, how it got, how it's gonna get supported. I believe it's already supported now since I released this video. It's already probably made its first pay grade. It was it already made 2 million, so you can check the Kickstarter, and I think it's now reaching secular goals. So that is good. So it looks like people are going to get a Shenmue 3 in some capacity or another. Another thing was, I believe the presentation for Sony was good. It wasn't perfect, but it was. I think it was strong. Now I got a list of cons. Okay, so my con with Sony is what happened to the PS Vita. Where are all the games listed for that? It's you guys completely given up on that. I'm a Vita owner, and now I feel like a dummy investing in that product. And I'm sure a lot of the fans, they're like, hey, where's our games? A lot of the Vita owners, if you bought a PS Vita, impressed by the tech on it, it's a great console. It's just you gotta match that tech with great games to go along with the tech. To show off the tech, you need the games. We need games. So as a Vita owner, why are you guys giving up so early? It's only the 4th year. I thought we had at least one more year. So give us one more year of games, damn it. Don't just neglect the Vita. Again, I'm getting kind of upset with that, but that's just my pet peeve on that. I don't like that it's over for us, man. So I guess we're left in the dust. They're forgetting about us. And again, Sony's not listening to their fans. They're getting all high and mighty from their PS4 console sales. They're high on their PS4. You know, they're not listening to the Vita fans and how people like to have portable game experiences too. It's not just all sit at home and work with your console. Okay, and the problem, another peeve, is a lot of the games that they had released. For instance, Final Fantasy VII and Shenmue 3. They don't have an actual release date. They're not coming out next year. They're just saying, they just announced it. So, you know, it might take 3-4 years until this vaporware actually shows up. So, you know, we're all gonna have to sit on our thumbs up our asses and see when there's an actual release date. So yeah, that's pretty much it with the Sony. If you go to Nintendo Wii U, oh god, where do we start with Nintendo, man? Okay, Nintendo, I'm gonna give you the pros on Nintendo. Pros are they had a few good games that are releasing on the 3DS. So they have a lot of games that I called out on the Nintendo segment. They were good games. A lot of them were 3DS. So Nintendo is money on the 3DS market on their gold Game Boy on Nintendo 3DS. Now, they did have some games for the Wii U, but I felt like, you know, usually why aren't they focusing on the Wii U as much? They were just like I was complaining about the Vita, the Wii U. I think everybody's talking about the Nintendo NX. So if that's a new console approaching on the horizon, we were expecting some kind of first look at the Nintendo NX. People were kind of wondering if they were going to show that, but that's probably going to be the next E3, you know, or maybe the next Nintendo conference. So we'll see later than that. Okay, so here's the cons. I already listed earlier. One of the biggest con I have was talking to an adult audience. There were no. Now, if you look at the footage, you saw all those seats were packed. Everybody was there, but they were all adult. You don't have kiddies. And then you're talking to an adult audience with Muppets. So it's not someone's birthday party. They don't want to see you talk down to them like Muppets. It's very condescending. It feels like you know, you lose consumer confidence in that. I think that's a bad move, you know, because this is an E3 and it's a trade show, so you gotta build confidence in your investors and your stock investors, audience, and your supporters. And as Muppets, it would have been cool if it was like if you had kids there and it was like you know, Disneyland or someplace like that, you know, a theme park. That's great. You can have Muppets. Kids will love it. But there's no kids there, so you guys got to be careful on that, on the talking your audience with Muppets. It's good when the audience has their kids with them. Go ahead, bring out the Muppets. That's fine. But when you got an audience that's packed with a bunch of adults that were kids a couple of decades ago. Now, they were kids a couple of decades ago. It's like you know, your father talking to you as a little kid, and it's like, you know, and you're like a 40-year-old man, you know, it just doesn't feel right, you know. The Metroid Prime Federation Force, yeah, that game really pissed off a lot of fans. Like I said earlier, I already talked about it. Remember Metroid? Samus is always in a labyrinth. And she's not supposed to be in this open air environment for too long a time, you know. So it's kind of like it wasn't a Metroid game. It's more like you guys are trying to copy Halo there. And as far as for presentation, you know, I have to be honest here. I thought it was a bad presentation for Nintendo. I mean, I think they really dropped the ball here. A lot of people are saying meaner things than I am, but I just think Nintendo did drop the ball. They underestimated how the audience would react to some of their decisions on how to present the stuff, and it just went badly for them. So I think Nintendo just learned from their mistakes. Now, if you're gonna, but you guys should have learned earlier from what happened to Tim Schafer. Now I forgot what show it was, but Tim Schafer, he did a show where he was talking to his audience and the supporters with a sock puppet, and he was just trying to be funny and clever and just be entertaining. But the audience did not take it that way. They took it as insulting and condescending. So yeah, guys, I guess just the general rule now is don't talk to adults with puppets. They really they don't like feeling like they're on Sesame Street. Because whenever you're an adult person and you're talking to Muppets, you're on Sesame Street. And you gotta explain what this letter or what this number does. So hey, just saying. So that's it for my final thoughts on E3. That's my final thoughts for the whole conferences and all. If you've seen any of my videos earlier, let me know. Comment below. Tell me what you think below on what was your favorite things, what were your pros and cons on each conference. Either be, if you're a fan of a particular company, or you're just just tell me the one thing you like. That's cool. I'll read it. So and tell me if you like. Let me know if you liked or disliked the video. That's cool too. I know people might not like my video or some of the things I said. I'm just calling it like I see it, so I try to be neutral. But right, if I have to give a final verdict of who got first place and second and third, I'd have to say Microsoft took the whole turned it around. They came out smelling like roses. This 2015 was the year of Microsoft. Sony came back with but they're not listening to their fans. They're starting to not listen to their fans, and I think Sony needs to realize, not to just to have more consistent release dates. Fans need to know when to expect those games and when to save up for stuff. And Nintendo. A lot of your fans, you're third place. A lot of your fans have grown up with you. You knew them since they were kids. Yeah, you don't want to be treated as a kid, and especially when you have access to your stock, and we can pull in money or pull out money when we're treated in a bad way. So, in that particular show, yeah, Nintendo's always been the Disney of the video game companies, so they always do that strange decision, and but yeah, this time it did not smell. Nintendo, you didn't come off smelling like roses. You really need to turn it around a little bit there. So try again harder on next E3, and don't do these little gimmicky things. So stay away from the gimmicks. Let your games sell themselves. But yeah, man, just again, comment below. Let me know what's going on. Cool. Peace.